Deborah's room was at the rear of the villa. It was the smallest, but she didn't mind as it was cosy and far enough away from her sisters to give her some much needed space and some me time. The bed, a letto matrimoniale, an Italian double, was smaller than the UK version, but ample for one person, especially Deborah with her bird-like build. It wasn't as if she needed more than average space. It had a metal frame with a scrolled head and foot, and over the mattress was a brightly coloured top sheet decorated with lemons. To coordinate with the bedding, the painted walls were pale yellow, and on the bedside was a vase with 2 large sunflowers in water. She unpacked her suitcase, hanging her clothes in the dark, ornately carved wardrobe. On the chest she placed her 2 sun hats, the jolly orange one with printed flowers she'd arrived in, and a cream wide-brimmed one that had survived the flight in her case. The room had a small window, and she walked over and looked out at the garden. Piero was locking up the brick outhouse at the edge of the vegetable patch. He looked up and, seeing her, waved. "I think I'm going to like you," she said to herself, and returned his gesture before returning to the job in hand. Rising onto tiptoes, she placed her suitcase on the top of the wardrobe, put her current paperback on the bedside table, and plugged her phone into its charger. Taking a deep breath, she unbuttoned the top 2 buttons of her blouse and lay down on the bed, which yielded with a squeak. She looked up at the ceiling, and with her eyes tracing a hairline crack in the plaster, she began the breathing exercises her therapist had advised she do for relaxation. The ringing telephone shattered her moment of peace. She looked at the screen and, seeing Jeremy's name, she groaned. Fighting the desire to ignore him, she pressed the green button and listened as he spewed his anxiety over the airwaves. "Slow down, Jeremy. Start again and speak clearly. I put the cottage pie in the microwave and it exploded. Now the insides look like a Jackson Pollock." "How did you do that?" "I put it inside, closed the door and turned the dial." "Did you prick the plastic cover with a fork?" "No." "Should I have?" Deborah despaired, swallowed her annoyance and said, "Did you read the instructions?" "Of course I didn't. I'm not an idiot. How difficult is it to reheat a ready meal?" Deborah didn't respond. She told him to clean up the mess and fix himself a cheese sandwich if he was still hungry. Then he delivered his coup de grace. "This wouldn't have happened if you hadn't swanned off on holiday." "Let's not have this conversation again, Jeremy." "But we've been over this time and time again. You're 49, Jeremy, hardly a child, and so are quite capable of looking after yourself." She wasn't so sure of this statement as the phone went dead and he hung up without another word.